Setting. Outside Westfield, Ruby comes across a collective of Scientologists.
Off shopping to get Mum a gift for her birthday. Doo-be-doo-doo-doo. What's that over there? Scales, emotional monitors. Can't resist a good pair of hypnotic ways. Let's go and check out what's happening.
Hello there. Welcome to Scientologists of London. Please take a seat. Let's have a chat.
A chat? Okay, I guess.
So, first off, allow me to introduce you to the Scientology e-meter test. This little auditing therapy session is designed to emotionally cleanse you of all your sins and secrets. Something of a catharsis.
A bit like confession then. Will I be pardoned of all my sins then?
Yes, exactly. Only no medieval witch hunts, no Spanish Inquisition, and no touching little boys.
You're savage, but true. Alright, so what do I do?
Well, it's really very easy and basic. Just answer every question we have as truthfully as possible. Do you have any current problems, such as addictions or anything bad that's haunting you?
Nope, I don't think so. I'm very much clean.
Look deep within yourself. Real deep.
Well, actually, I do have a bit of a habit of stealing sweets from the pick and mix sections.
Keep digging.
And sometimes a few accessories from Sara. And the other day, I happened to kind of steal my neighbour's plasma TV as well. And I guess, truth be told, well, I guess I'm a bit of a kleptomaniac. Shit, where did that come from?
Anything else? Any secrets?
No, I don't think so. That was pretty much all. And even that I would have been fine not telling you.
Really? Nothing else you want to tell me?
Sometimes, actually. Well, every time I go out, I use chicken fillets to make the sisters look a bit better. Sometimes, I don't know why, I pick my nose and have a taste. I also stalk my ex. At the beginning, it was only online, but these days I find myself waiting around in his flat. What the hell? What was that?
Tell us about the last time you felt affinity for someone.
All the girls in my class have a thing for Michael, who is a transfer student. But I have this mega crush on my dad's best friend. He smells like stale cigarettes and car air freshener. His hands are so soft and tender, yet strong and manly. I mean, yeah, they are a bit wrinkly with liver spots on them, but I kind of dig that. A bit of a silver fox that has maybe gone past its expiry date. Oh my god, what are you doing to me?
Never mind that. Anything else you want to tell us? Any past mistakes?
No, not at all. I don't believe in regrets. I stand by every decision I have ever made. Well, last year I cheated on my boyfriend about 6 times, all with different men and women. I also have a bit of a habit of lying to everyone all the time. Basically, I'm living a lie that I have carefully fabricated over the last years. Oh crap, that's crazy, man. What?
Is there anything you have failed to reveal?
I've pretty much revealed everything, to be honest with you. Don't know why or even how you managed to make me tell you these things, but I have.
Alright then, end of session. Right, I should tell you, we have recorded this session on that camera right there. If you would like to look to your right and give a little wave to acknowledge it. Yep, that'd be fantastic, thank you. Alright, now, down to business. You might be aware of how sensitive the information is you just gave to us. I'm sure you wouldn't want your friends or family to hear about your stalking, stealing, lying, cheating or booger eating habits. So, in return for the confidentiality of all that was spoken about today, you will have to pay us £3,000. All good? Okay then. We'll have the bill posted to you today. Pleasure doing business with you, Ruby. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Wait, what? What the?
Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back
Hey
here at
y'all.
Mosaic after we took a tiny bit of a break. But now that
long
Sara
ass
is
break.
back from sunny Miami,
Miami.
we are back on air. Miami. Welcome back from Miami.
Thank you. I'm happy to be back. Woohoo.
Are you?
Yeah, I kind of am. But yeah, I do miss the sun. It's been really shitty weather in London.
In London, yeah.
Yeah, awful.
But let's not digress. We all want to know one thing. So here is the moment of truth.
What?
How many venereal diseases did you catch while
Oh,
out there?
whatever. You know what? Everyone keeps asking me that. Like, apparently there's this new disease out there that everyone's catching. But no, I was well behaved. Nothing happened of that sort, okay? Thank you very much.
Disease?
Yeah.
What? Do they evolve?
Yeah, it's like a new resistant strain for like
God.
hoey people.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Oh. But I'm sure you got up to some crazy things when out there, right?
Yeah, I did. So something that was really new to me was the strip club experience. So
No way, you went to a strip club.
first time ever.
Damn you!
Yeah, so basically, well, I wouldn't normally go in London, but everyone was like, you know what, it's Miami. There are loads of really good strip places. It's like the second best state when it comes to strip clubs. And yeah, they were like, yeah, check it out. So we went to this place called Kings of Diamonds. And I didn't really know what to wear. Like, what are you laughing at the name?
You didn't know what to wear, honey, no offence. But if you go to a strip club, ain't nobody looking at you, girl.
No, I know, but like, what do you wear? Like, what would you wear? It's weird because it's like, do I go half naked? Do I go cash? Or do I go like completely normal in flats? And like, as a woman, how do you dress? What would you wear?
Pantsuit.
Pantsuit. Oh my god! Like braces, walking stick, pimp hat.
I have no idea, man. I guess just like a skirt and like a blouse, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Do you know what? To be honest, I don't know if I'd ever go to a strip club, but maybe, I don't know. I mean, you know, when in Rome, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I just went to kind of, you know, get over my curiosity a bit. So basically, ended up wearing like a really glitzy dress because my friend was like, no, you guys, you have to dress up. Like, everyone really dresses up there. So took a cab there and we got outside and it was literally like, we were kind of scared to go because like, we don't know what crowd's going to be there. It might just be, you know, full of like gangsters and like, I don't know, just like, you know, the crap ghetto side of Miami.
Yeah.
And then, so we went in, there was loads of security, like loads of like guns and like bulletproof vests. I was like, bloody hell, what are we doing? Yeah, because probably, you know, people fall in love with the strippers. You get psychos that stalk them probably, and I don't know what goes on. But yeah, it was crazy. But they were really nice.
Damn.
So yeah, ended up wearing a really nice dress and heels. And then we got to the door and my friend was like, can you just run in and ask them like what the dress code is? I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, just run in and just ask them, like, is it okay to dress up? And I was like, oh, for God's sake. So I took her flip-flops. So I was like dressed in like this slinky dress with flip-flops on. I was like, excuse me, is it okay to like dress up or can we come in like cash or whatever? She was like, yeah, it doesn't matter. And then at that time, like loads of girls came in with dresses and were like, okay, let's go in. So I ended up going in and oh my God.
Your world has been changed.
I mean, no, I don't really have anything to compare it to, but it was literally just like a club with lots of naked women walking around and doing like the craziest thing on poles. Like, okay, so there was this woman who basically slid all the way up, twerked on the ceiling upside down, then slid down at like really high speed to this guy that was at the bottom of the pole. It was insane. And then everyone was just like throwing like $1 bills at them. And it was literally like a T-Pain music video. Like, that's what it was like. And you have like guys standing around with like gold chains. And yeah, it was nuts. It was just like...
Do you know what? Like, what kind of people go there though? Like, what... Like,
all kinds of people. Like, it was actually really kind of diverse. Like, loads of women, men.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. There was this woman as well that got a dance from one of the strippers. And they're just, but I was trying my hardest not to make eye contact with the strippers because I was like, you know, I don't want to dance and I don't want to get locked into some kind of, you know, dangerous like death circle. And then, yeah. But yeah.
You didn't want to see the sign of sort of broken dreams in their eyes.
Oh God.
Because there was when I was at university, we had this really, really small CDC strip club that was frequented only by the locals. Like students didn't even go near it. But I was really curious and I really wanted to go just to see what the whole hype is about, right?
Yeah.
And I sort of like, we were just chilling out in the dorms, and I was like, I was suggesting that we go next weekend, and the guys was like, no, we're not going to a strip club. It is literally the saddest place that you can ever go to. It smells of despair. You see these girls, and you just you just feel so pathetic, and you just feel so sad for them. I was like, okay, maybe I
Yeah.
won't go.
Oh, okay. So you didn't end up going. Yeah, it does feel quite sad, especially when I can imagine the ones in London or in England being quite grotty and just sad places.
Yeah. Because I watched like a food documentary, kind of like a food video clippy thing, from Atlanta. And they were saying how strip clubs are just like, they're just part of like the everyday culture. It's not necessary. It's not even, you don't even go there to jerk off or to get like, your load of I don't know, like,
Yeah, exactly. It's literally like a club. Like it's a club.
Yeah.
It's a thing to do. Like even if you listen to the radio, they're like, oh, the thing to go to tonight is a strip club. Like, and people just go. Like it's a cash thing there.
Yeah. And especially in Atlanta, apparently it's like the place to go if you want to have like really good food, apparently.
Yes!
So
Oh my
odd.
god, I heard that. So even in Miami, this cab driver was like, oh, if you guys want good food, go to this other strip club called J&T or something. They were like, they do the best food. Like the strip clubs, like the strippers, I mean, they're not that good looking, but the food is like off the chain. And we were like, oh my god, this is so strange.
Right? Yeah, I know.
Oh god.
It is really two completely different cultures, isn't it? The American and the English.
Yeah, it really is.
But yeah, moving on to today's podcast. So today's topic is all about the cult, the creepy, evil, and nasty cults. But then again, I suppose, is there really a thing like a non-creepy, nice and welcoming cult? So that's what we're here to discuss. So let's find out. And to start us off, as usual, a round of 5 and 5. Only this time we sort of changed it a bit around, and we shortened it and made it a 3 and 3, as we only have 3 questions each. So Sarah, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So number 1, what kind of cult rules would you implement as the leader of a cult?
Do you know? I think for me, I would. Like, obviously, I wouldn't go, like, for the creepy sort of sex slavery kind of thing. I think for me, at the forefront of it would just be, like, a respectful way of life, where we embrace everyone, and just sort of, like, help society where we can, and just be productive members of society.
Aww.
And just help each other. I think
so nothing sinister and creepy and odd?
No. I was thinking for a second, oh, maybe we could have like a system where we would punish all the baddies, like all the racists and all the...
Yeah. This kind of reminds me of If I Ruled the World, when we were just coming up with rules we would implement as leaders. This is kind of the similar thing.
Yeah.
We would just come up with like a hippie harem, just like do whatever you want to do, be nice, whatever, be a complete hippie and love everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the way that I go. How about you? Probably very similar.
Well, yeah, I think, pretty much very similar. Like the kind of the stuff that I spoke about last time. So just be nice, and I'd probably have an ethos for lazy people as well. So kind of like just get by in life by doing the bare minimum. So I would promote that as a thing. I'd be like, chill out, don't do nothing. It's fine. Lazy git.
All right, next one.
Okay, so what is the most sinister cult you've heard of?
Do you know what? To me, just the word cult insinuates that it's going to be something that's bad, something that's kind of evil, that's probably not very wholesome. So for me, like every cult that I've come across is really sinister. Partly, I think, also because I've never seen a cult or a group or commune, whatever you want to call it, that is 100% clear about their doctrine.
Yeah,
there's always something hidden.
Dodge.
There's always something that's not out in the open, that's not said out loud, and I think that makes me really suspicious.
But what's the worst one? The one where you've been like, that is actually grim. How do people exist that do... how do people like that exist? That is just horrendous.
Just so many... Do you remember that... Was it Charles Manson? Was
yeah.
That hit, like a killer cult?
Yeah, he did,
of
women, of like 10 women or something.
Yeah. I mean, that shit is just... I mean, this is a group formed just to kill other people. I mean, that is just...
How do you even come
That's
up with
just
that?
sick.
Just like sitting around thinking, you know what, I just want to come up with a cult to kill loads of people. It's insane. How do you even
it's like, oh,
have
I
that
can't handle
thought
all the
process?
killing. I can't handle, there's too many people I want to kill and see dead. Let me get some help. Like, that is such a sick
Grim.
mindset. Yeah.
Grim. Okay, next one. What is the best kind of cult you can be involved in? And if someone you've always crushed on promised you the world in return for your membership into this cult, how would you react?
Oh, shit. Okay. Okay, to answer the first one, what was the best kind of cult I could be involved in? I think it'd just be sort of like a live and let live kind of situation, you know? Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't mind if other people believe in certain things, even if they're really crazy and dumb. Like, as long as you do you and I do me, we're good. So I think that sort of anything that goes into that direction, and doesn't force anyone to do anything or believe in anything, I think that's good for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
And obviously one that promotes sort of like a sense of community and helping others and helping your neighbours. That's sort of, I suppose, the best that you can sort of do.
Oh, that sounds lovely. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
So nothing to
But
do
that
with
said,
sorcery or nothing like that.
Well, I mean, if you want to get together every Friday night around a pot and cook up some potions...
Let's do it. Some cauldrons.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
It's cool, as long as you're not feeding it to anyone secretly, as long as you're drinking it and getting high. Get on
imagine.
you.
Oh God, I saw on Asian Provocateur, did you see the bit where he went to America? No, there was the bit where he went to Mexico as part of that series in America, and they went to this like satanic cult, and there was like, oh my God, it was like the creepiest thing ever. He kind of just like went to it by accident, and then there was a woman like naked on the table with loads of strawberries on her, and then the man was like, you have to kill these chickens and you have to do this, and he was like, no, I'm vegan. And that's where he drew the line. Like, he actually stayed there right until the end, and then he was like, no, I can't do the chicken thing. But bloody hell, it's a scary bloody environment, just being part of a cult.
Satanism, yeah. I never got that. I never bloody got that. But going back to the questions, so even if sort of, you know, the person that I have a crush on, and he's like, you know, perfect, but he's in a cult that I just described that's very hippie and it's all about love, respect, and great. But if he told me that he could only be with me if I joined, I don't know if that. I think that would be a no-go.
Oh really?
Yeah, because I don't want him to tell me that I have to join. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That should be up
That's
to me.
very
It shouldn't be.
manipulative.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't think I would do that.
So if he offered you everything, if he was literally like, imagine if you were in a really shit situation, you were homeless, let's say, and he was
Bloody
like,
hell.
yeah, I'm going to give you a house and a career that you've always wanted in broadcasting, you would say no to that. It just, you know, in return for you to be a member of the cult, all you'd have to do is just like pledge your allegiance to it and like go to their meetings like once a week, and that's it. Very little required of you. Would you do it?
I don't know. I mean, it seems too good a deal, do you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing for free in this world.
Yeah.
And for someone to say, oh, you know, I'll give you all of this and all I ask for in return is just, yeah, that you just come and join us. It's like, but surely you want more than just that. You're not giving me all of this.
Yeah, I'd be a bit suspicious.
Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'd be suspicious. I don't think so. But then if I'm homeless, like, literally beggars can't be choosers, like, literally. Yeah. So I don't know.
You could always pretend to be part of it and just take all the perks of it.
Yeah, well, but then if they sort of tell me to, I don't know, perform sexual acts and be filmed, do you know what I mean? Like, what am I gonna do? Like, otherwise we'll
stunt
vacate.
double. Yeah, no, that's a no, because you're always going to end up in a shit situation where you're going to have to do things you're not quite comfortable with. But yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. My three questions are actually very, very similar. So actually, it's just two questions now. But yeah, the first one, very similar again. So say you meet the perfect man, yeah? Like a 10 on 10, he respects you, he treats you right. He loves your family, he's like a big family guy as well, yeah? He's just perfect. And he's hot as fuck. because he's got to be.
Yeah, of course, it's me. Hello.
But you find out he's a member of a sect. It's nothing aggressive or sexual, but it is. It's like, say it's like a Jehovah's Witness or something like that. And he isn't even asking you to join. But would that be a deal breaker for you that you say, oh,
I don't know, because because first of all, obviously, I've been conditioned to think that all sects are harmful. Like, what is a harmless cult? I don't know if that even exists. But if you're talking about like the Mormons or Jehovah's Witness, that's kind of okay. I'd be all right with that. Like, especially if he's not forcing me to be part of it. And I think that's fine. Like, also, and also, having said that, that is like the chupacabra of like men. Like, he is a 10 out of 10, respects me, treats me right. Like, that is the holy grail. I'm holding on to that man if I find him. So even if it means he's part of the sect, darling, like, I don't mind. I can overlook that. But you know what? Like, imagine meeting a man that's part of, you know, those like weird Pentecostal churches where they like speak in tongues and they faint. And imagine if you like saw him do, like, imagine if you were dating a guy that was part of that kind of church. Would you be okay with it?
oh my god. No,
You know, when they're like rolling around and like,
yeah, they sort of like in like an ecstasy sort of.
I
I
find that stuff creepy, and they always end up scamming people. Those kind of churches.
Yeah, no. I mean, you know me. I'm already very suspicious once religion comes into the game, and then if it's something that's like that, you know, not everyone knows much about, and it's kind of frowned upon, and I don't really know what's going on because they're not 100% clear about or open about their doctrine, then I don't know.
I think you know what, if it was a bit dodge, I would try to like unindoctrinate them if possible. Like,
as a single person, you'd go in there and be like, listen, people.
Yeah, well, no, not the whole bloody congregation, just him, and
just
then
your partner.
Yeah, I'd just be like, look, this is kind of weird, and I think that they're trying to scam you, and yeah, basically, I'm going to offer you a way out. But yeah, having said that, I'm like, I'm pretty bad at persuading people. I always give up like after the first point. I'm always like, yeah, fair enough. So
yeah, you'd be like, honey. Like, sit down, honey, listen, you really shouldn't. They're just trying to fool you. No, they're not. Okay, well,
yeah, fair enough, all right.
See you never again.
Literally, that is me. But yeah, that's what I would do if I could. But yeah.
I actually never thought about that, to actually change your partner and to sort of, you know, change the way he thinks. Or
yeah, it's not ideal, is it? But desperate times.
All right, next one. Have you actually ever stumbled upon a sect and thought, you know what? I'm not sure that I mind any of this. This is all kind of okay. I'm kind of on board with this.
Oh my god. In short, no.
Okay, but we do have some time.
No, I've never really been in like social circles that are kind of associated with sects or cults. So I'm kind of far away from that world. I've never really come across one in that way. Like, oh my god, like my friends just tried to, you know, reel me into this sect. No, but not really. I think they always seem kind of restrictive in a way, and I don't really want anyone to answer to.
That's true.
Yeah, but I mean, I did search up, just because I didn't really know how to answer this. I was like, are there any good cults out there?
Did you actually Google good cults?
Yeah, and they're really weird cults. So there was this cult called, it was so weird. So it's basically this guy, I think it's called Breatharian or something, and he convinced people that they don't need food and water to eat. Have you heard of it? And they just can feed off like energy from the sun, and he used to charge people like $10,000 for these like immortality classes or workshops.
Yeah. Do you know who was a member of that cult?
Who?
Michelle Pfeiffer, the actress.
Really?
Yeah.
But what's the deal behind it? I don't get it. What are they trying to get
So
out
I
of
don't know.
that?
So I did some research on this, and she basically, when she moved to Hollywood, she like, you know, she moved in with this couple that were part of this cult. And their belief is that food is not necessary and that you can get all the nourishment that your body needs from the sunlight.
Bloody hell, they must be grumpy as hell. Hangry as hell all the
so
time.
So they put Michelle Pfeiffer on that diet. But she was because she was only hanging out with these people, she didn't really realise what was going on, because she didn't have sort of the outside perspective. It was only after she met with someone from outside, and he was doing like a movie or a documentary on cults, and he was talking about it, and she was like, oh shit, I think I'm actually in a cult as well. Like, that's when she sort of had that epiphany,
hilarious.
and she was like, you know what, I gotta leave that shit, man, that's not healthy.
Oh my god.
I gotta get back on that burger.
Oh my god. Imagine that, like, thinking that you're part of this religious community, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, this is actually a cult, and I've been like brainwashed. Nuts.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, so I came across that, and I thought, you know what, that doesn't seem too radical, but it's kind of creepy at the same time. But yeah, I don't think I would really join any cult of any sort. I mean, maybe the Mormons, because they're quite peaceful and anything but satanic, but
aren't the Mormons, this might be wrong, but do the Mormons not believe that you're not allowed to have surgery and blood transfusions and stuff?
I think so. That's Jehovah's Witnesses are definitely part of that, and also Rastafarianism. They're like definitely against.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're really. I think that's the reason why Bob Marley died, because he had cancer in the toe, and he couldn't get operated because of his beliefs and stuff. Yeah, but yeah. Okay, I've got an idea. If I really had to be part of a cult, so I know a friend of mine, she runs this like martial arts / like crystal healing class just for women, which I think sounds bloody amazing. If that was a cult, I wouldn't mind being part of it, because it's all about like self-defense, and like it's a bit witchy.
It's a bit about empowerment as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a bit witchy, because they're always like cooking up cauldrons and stuff and putting in herbs and stuff, but I kind of like that. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, I think I would. I've always wanted to learn martial arts, so yeah.
Yeah, it's like a great combo.
I mean, if it's peaceful, if you're not forcing anyone to do anything, like if you're not restricting anyone, you know, as long as they can do whatever they like, and in addition to that, they also do martial arts and they do a bit of potion cooking, then that's cool.
Yeah, right up my alley.
Mind that. Yeah. Also, I don't know if they're a cult or a commune, what's the difference? But nudists, I don't mind them. But then I suppose you wouldn't call them a cult, would you? Nudists?
Oh my god, really? Yeah, they're not really a cult. They're just like a subculture of people, I guess.
Of people. but that's the thing, right? So what's the difference between a commune, a cult, and even a religion? Like, where do you draw the line? I think that's something that, you know, while sort of thinking about this and doing the research, is something that sort of repeatedly
came up quite a bit.
Where do you draw the line? Can a cult ever become a religion? Or isn't every religion really basically a cult, but like on a much, much bigger scale? Because in Hinduism, you have this, what let's call it a splinter group, that worships this dude called Sai Baba. Now he's just your regular Joe. He was your regular brown dude. He was mortal. He had no superpowers, nothing. But he's still being worshipped by a particular kind of Hindu. But then there's the majority of Hindus that think that that's bullshit because he's mortal. We shouldn't be worshipping a mere mortal. That's not how this works. So, you know, where do you draw the line? That's true,
because it does overlap quite a bit, doesn't it? And then you always think, you know, well, main religions could be cults as well. It's just because the majority, believe in it.
Is it just a number of followers that
exactly, because they always say that cults are like on the outskirts of religion, but they kind of deviate away from proper religion, but it doesn't mean that they're, you know, wrong or whatever. That's kind of like paganism as well. They're kind of on the outskirts, but it doesn't mean that they're really, you know, bad or anything. A lot of religion does draw on, you know, paganism and stuff.
Yeah, this is true, yeah.
But yeah, because I think there's a modern day pagan group called Wicca. I don't know, you probably know more about paganism than I do.
I don't know much about modern, but I've heard of Wicca, yeah, they're sort of, your new age.
Yeah, so they're apparently meant to be like, like the practitioners are really about peace and love, and you just sound like hippies, but obviously because they've got paganism linked to the name, it's like, Oh my god,
it's frowned upon.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like every major religion has that sort of splinter group, that sort of...
They do, yeah.
Because within Islam, you have Sufism, right?
Yeah.
But that's considered a proper, legit part of Islam, though, isn't it?
Yeah, because I think it's a lot of it is to do with
mystic.
mystical, kind of poetic, kind of faction of it.
Yeah, and then obviously within Christianity, you have Mormonism and Jehovah's Witnesses, which are not... Or at least Jehovah's Witnesses, they're not considered a proper religious undergroup. They're just sects, and they are quite frowned upon as well.
But then go on. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say we around our house we have this dude who's a Jehovah's Witness, and
I think you told me about him.
He keeps coming to our place with these brochures about, how to get to heaven, what is morality, what is good living, do we have something like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse in our age? Have you already seen them? And he's been coming to our place, and I'm not shitting, he's been coming to our place for about 15 years.
Damn.
And he keeps on coming, and he knows my parents are Hindus. And, every time he comes, he's like, we have a meeting coming up, you should come. He's been saying that for 15 years. We've never showed up to one of the meetings. But he keeps on coming during the coldest winter days and the hottest of summer days.
Aww. On his own?
Like, yeah, just him. And you just feel a bit sorry for him. So none of us have ever told him to just bugger off and sort of, shut the door in his face. So we just stand there, just nodding and just sort of like, wait for him to finish his little speech and then go off. But
that is bloody persistent. Wow, 15 years.
I'll say,
yeah. Wow, no, it's funny that a lot of people from these sects are very confident about, the ideologies of their sects. Yeah. Like, they're always so hard on to it.
But I guess if you make that decision to sort of go and follow... and become part of a cult, when most of society will sort of look at you in a weird way, will probably judge you. You have to be 110% sure to be facing that sort of, criticism, I suppose.
That's very true. And they always tend to be, like, religious or sexual. Have you noticed? Like, always.
This is true, yeah.
Is there anything else? I guess they are kind of two very... main elements of life, but still it's like
or they're about money. But basically so the idea for today's podcast started with R. Kelly. I mean, honestly, it's where all good things begin, with R. Kelly.
Yes, in the ignition.
Sadly, also where most things end for people, like their childhood, their innocence, and their youth. They'll find their end with R. Kelly as well.
What?
Well, for most of the kids.
Oh god, gross.
So basically, I'm sure all of you will have heard about R. Kelly and his creepy little sex cult. So basically, what happened is that a journalist, Jim DeRogatis, so he's the same journalist who was the key figure in R. Kelly's trial back in 2008, where he was charged with 14 cases of child pornography and, well, I suppose pedophilia.
I think the girl was 14, wasn't she?
Yeah, there was one. Yeah, one of the girls. It was actually, there was a videotape where it was shown. Yeah, that they.
So it was a few girls. I didn't really know much of the story.
It was 14 charges. So it was 14 different cases.
Oh,
and one of them, there was a videotape that showed, him having sex with the girl, with a 14-year-old.
Oh right, yeah, and the wee thing as well. Do you remember that?
Oh god, yeah. Ugh.
But that's when they should have drawn a line and said this man shouldn't be around other people. There should have been some kind of restraining order, some kind of something. Do you know what I mean? Like, some kind of restriction then and there.
Yeah. But I think the thing with R. Kelly is that there's so much badness around him that, like, a lot of things just sort of get lost in the ether of evilness. And that's why, the sex cult thing, like, I had no idea. Most people had no idea what was going on because they were like, oh, it's R. Kelly, whatever. I think a lot of people were sort of also sort of being ignorant, or they were willfully sort of closing their eyes.
Yeah, because I remember talking to someone about R&B. It. I was talking to this guy about it, and he was like, oh, R. Kelly gets a bad rap, and I was like, what do you mean?
What?
I was like, hello, like...
God.
To be fair, like, if you're a male in, you know, the public eye, and you're getting loads of money and you're famous and whatever, you're going to get loads of women, you know, throwing themselves at you. But obviously that, you know, it's up to you. It's your prerogative whether you go that way, whether you can obviously abuse it. You can so easily, and he's literally the only one who keeps abusing it time and time again. Like, he's just a dirty old man.
But that's the thing, that it's not grown ass women who flirt with him and, you know, try and seduce him. These are little kids. These are 14, 15-year-old kids.
But apparently the women that are in his cult, like, the ages vary from like 30 to like the youngest is like, I think 19 or something.
Yeah.
And like the oldest one is like the teacher of the cult, apparently.
So basically he's like keeping them in his house, and he's controlling every aspect of their lives.
Yeah.
He gets to decide what they eat, when they eat, how they dress, when they bathe, when they sleep, and, you
like,
know,
some of the stuff I read was messed up. Like the fact that they have to wear grey tracksuit bottoms, they have to face the wall whenever there's anyone in the house and not interact with them. They need to wear no makeup, and apparently he punishes them for speaking to other males. It's just a mess. I don't know if it's true, but if it is, bloody hell, like, he needs to be locked away. Like, he has to. Apparently he performed like 24 hours ago, and he was just like in great form. Apparently he rubbed a fan's phone against his crotch and urged the audience to touch his body, and it's the first gig since the sex cult allegations.
Why would he keep doing that? Oh my god.
I know, he just does not make it better for himself. If you look at the audience as well, they're all kind of like middle-aged women from like ATL. I guess that's what his fan base is now.
But I think that the thing that really scares me here is that, you know, they interviewed the parents of the girls that are in the cult, and one of the parents, they came forward and they said that one of the rare occasions when they were allowed to see the girl, their daughter, they said that it was as if she was brainwashed. She looked like a prisoner, and it was horrible. But the really worrying thing is that she kept saying that she's in love with R. Kelly.
Yeah.
And R. Kelly cares for her.
That's the thing, it's all consensual. Like, all of it.
Yeah, exactly. That's why the police can't do anything, because the girls are there out of their own free will. But it's just seems like he's brainwashed them to an extent that...
It's hard. How do you police stuff like that? Like, there has to be new kind of measures towards like emotional blackmail, emotional manipulation, indoctrination. Like, something should be done. I think moving forward, maybe laws might change a bit, because, you know, like with like what's it called, like revenge porn, laws have changed massively with that. Like, before it was seen as something that's like, you know, you can't really measure it, you can't really prove it properly, and then finally they kind of found out the way that it did destroy lives. So hopefully something might happen with this as well.
I think that is the main problem that we have, that he's just this master of mind control. It's not just him. If you look at most of these sects, their leaders, they're just really good at controlling people and like being like a puppet master.
Yeah, no,
and sort
definitely.
of playing their followers and, you know, make them do all these crazy things. And
yeah, because like when I searched up types of cults, loads of stuff came up about like abusive relationships, and there was like this book called How to, you know, Take Back Your Life, Recovering from Cults and Abusive Relationships. So there's obviously a clear link between sexual cults and abusive relationships, and there's like this shared element of like emotional manipulation, physical abuse, indoctrination, to the point where like your body is not yours anymore, and it's sad. Like, it's crap. Like, you're basically someone else's property. Can you imagine how that feels? And that takes years to get over and unlearn,
and to sort of think that it's okay the way it is. You know, he just cares for me, that's how he shows affection.
Exactly. It reminds me of what's it called, Stockholm syndrome, you know, when you start to love your captor.
Exactly. Oh my god, I never thought about it. Exactly. Where you sort of fall in love with your captor, and you sort of you're willing to do anything.
What is the like science behind that? Do you know?
Not really. I just know that it just happens that when you're with your captor for a long time, you just sort of start seeing things from his perspective, and you sort of start to sympathize with where he's coming from.
That kind of that's what makes me think that it could easily just happen to anyone. Like if you're at a really low point and
exactly.
say you're really like a massive super fan of this one person, like say it's someone who's not creepy. Okay, R. Kelly is like the creepiest of the creeps, but say it's someone who's like Jesse Williams. Oh my god, imagine if he approached you and he was like, okay, come over to my place, I'm gonna give you this amazing job. And you're like infatuated and vulnerable, so you're already coming from a place of that, of like completely being mesmerized by him, and then he's like, I can change your reality. What would you do? It's tempting to give in. I'm not gonna lie, I would probably give in if I was in a bad place. And it's the way of like
that's
escapism,
it. If you're in a bad
isn't it?
place, if it seems like this person can solve all your problems, they've got all the solutions, and all you have to do is just give a bit back, then I suppose it's easy to sort of fall into if you're vulnerable and if you're sort of in a position of weakness.
Yeah, I think I would take it in a heartbeat. I would be like,
would you? No, I don't think that we would do it now, but if things turn for the worst, then who's to say that it won't happen to us?
I think you're not as easily swayed. I think I would be like, I
think you're underselling yourself. I don't think that you're pretty strong, dude. We're not that desperate yet, man. But looking at the whole R. Kelly situation, I just really, really hope that it doesn't sort of peter away and people stop talking about it, but it sort of gets blown up and turns into like another Bill Cosby moment. Because I feel like over the years, his, the money, the fame, his reputation as like a mega R&B star, it has protected him.
No, definitely.
But hopefully it'll sort of come crumbling down. Because I'm just really sick and tired of seeing, how society, how all of us, we turn a blind eye to people and the shit they do just because of their alleged talent. It happened with Roman Polanski. It happens still with Woody Allen.
Oh
Chris
Brown. all the time. And I remember watching this documentary about the whole incident with Bill Cosby. And his bodyguard was basically like, at first I completely denied it. Like I respected this man, I loved him so much, and I couldn't believe how someone like that could do it. And then eventually he was like, stories would come out, and even from women, people that actually loved him as well, like family. And then I was like, okay, no, there's something. There's no smoke without fire. Like there has to be something behind it.
Yeah.
So when it's about time that these kind of people fall from grace, because it's actually disgusting.
Remember what he did to Aaliyah as well? I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, you reminded me about that. Was it you?
Oh my God, yeah. I had I knew sort of in the back of my mind that he was married to Aaliyah, and there was something not quite kosher about it. But basically she was 15. I think he was 24. They got married.
What?
While
I didn't know this.
While they were working on an album called AJ Nothing But a Number.
Oh my God.
And she was 15, but he somehow persuaded her to register herself as 18 so they could actually legally get married. So the marriage was annulled shortly after it sort of came out, but fucking hell, just imagine how he must have messed up Aaliyah.
Yeah,
because even years afterwards she was defending him and she was like, oh, he's just misunderstood, people don't really get where he came from. And it's like,
that's a pretty big age gap as well, actually. But then you get that a lot, don't you, in showbiz? Like just men that are a lot older and then women that are younger.
Yeah,
and
but 24-15, that is just messed up. Like 50-20, that's pretty bad, and it's kind of like, well, but 24-15, do you know what I was doing when I was 15? I was watching Sailor Moon and eating Fruit Loops. I wasn't getting married to 24.
No, I know. But she did look a lot older for her age and stuff, and 15 is... You're kind of, especially in London anyways, like girls are a lot more kind of...
Yeah, especially
they
these
grow up
days,
a lot older, which bloody sucks. And that's why I think older men should just stay away from younger women, piss off, let them be a kid for as long as possible. On the topic of showbiz, have you heard about Justin Bieber being part of this Christian sect? I know, right? Laugh out loud moment. Basically, he cancelled the rest of his world tour. So when I first found out, I was like, okay, fair enough, good on him. He needs to relax, he needs to chill out because he's burning out completely and he's going nuts. Then I found out it's because he's building a church. So, okay, still weird, but acceptable-ish. And then the next thing you hear is that he's hanging out with this rock star like priest guy that's part of this church called Hillsong Church. So they're like a global strand of Christianity, and it looks to kind of recruit followers with music, dancing and community care projects. But obviously they kind of like, there is a sinister side, so they apparently take in like, they accept like massive donations from celebrities. And yeah, it's just a bit creepy. Apparently he's like getting really close to this priest guy, and they're always like taking pictures for Instagram together. So yeah, I don't know about that.
How old is he?
I think he's like 21, 22.
That's still very young though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I don't really know how I feel about Justin Bieber. I'm not a big fan, but then he did grow up, so he was forced to grow up so quickly, especially in an environment like that where you don't really know. You know, you're not allowed to be a child for very long, and then, you know, you have to just compromise your childhood for fame, I suppose.
No, it's very difficult. I'll give it to him.
There's definitely a part of me that's like, poor boo. But then there's, mostly he's...
But this is like the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Like, he went from being a wild child who, you know, beating up paparazzi, taking drugs, drinking, whatever, getting into fights.
Has he turned into like a church boy? Is he now
yeah,
like on the
he is. Yeah.
Okay.
He wants to get closer to Jesus, he said, and God. Yeah, apparently he's been living with this priest as well for the last few weeks, for 6 weeks.
Well, that's good news. A priest living with a young boy. You're like, what could go wrong? Like, what could possibly go wrong?
And yeah, apparently they're like super against, you know, abortions. They're quite old school and conservative, like against gay marriage and all of that. Yeah.
Oh my God. I guess.
So yeah, that's an odd one.
Here's another few celebrities that were in cults, or allegedly in cults.
Hit me with it.
So Joaquin Phoenix, he was brought up in the Children of God cult.
Children. That sounds so familiar.
The Children of God.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of them until I read this. But yeah, his parents joined the controversial religious group in the early 70s. And they sort of travelled throughout South America with the whole family. But then they sort of, at some point, they just decided to sort of leave the cult. They changed their names.
Runaway teens and hippies. Is that what they were?
Is it?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Oh my God.
Who devoted themselves to the worship of Jesus Christ and promiscuous sex. Right. Okay. Interesting.
Well, right. So because shortly after the Phoenixes left the group, allegations were made that young members were being kidnapped and sexually assaulted. So promiscuous sex. Okay, that's how they define that then.
Yeah, that's a quite different way to label it, but okay.
Another rich young kid, Jaden Smith, apparently.
Really?
Rumoured, yeah. So his sister Willow Smith, and Kylie Jenner.
Right.
Apparently they're all members of the Orgonite Society, which claims to be a secret society of individuals who create and place Orgonite to balance Gaia's energies. I have really no idea what that means. I don't know, but in Greek mythology, Gaia created the universe, so she's a god, and yeah, I suppose it's like a worship of her.
Okay, so what do they get out of that? Like infinite beauty and wealth, or what?
Yeah, they just supposedly being in that cult sort of drains your negative energy and sort of gives you positive vibes.
Well, that's not bad. Yeah. That kind of makes me think, like, you know how I'm like massively into meditation and stuff like that. I'm like, am I part of a cult now? Maybe, like, indirectly. I don't know. It's weird. Because my mum I was talking to my mum about it. And she was like, oh, you know, Chris Martin's wife. What's her name? Well, she's into like crystals and like meditation and and all of this stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. I kind of like the concept of crystals and like meditation. Does that make me like part of a cult? And I started thinking that for a minute. I was like, oh God.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Well, you know, because you're like a single individual doing it, you're not going to any conventions. You're not really associated with, you know, any group that does it. So
That's true. I
don't think that would be the case. Unless you've got Gwyneth Paltrow knocking on your door, then let me know.
Oh God, no, not yet.
But speaking sort of celebrities and cults, for me personally at least, when I think of celebrities and cults. Obviously, we talked about the Illuminati a few episodes ago, and how people like Jay-Z and Beyonce and Prince were sort of associated with it. But for me, when I think of famous celebrity cults, I think of Scientology. That's sort of, for me, the first thing that pops up. And while I'd heard of Scientology quite a few times, everyone was banging on about it, I really didn't know what the whole deal was with Scientology. Like, what was their actual doctrine? What do they actually truly believe in? So I did some research. I can't say that I actually do understand.
It's weird. It's so vague, isn't it? It's so vague.
It's vague, and it's just so crazy. So the basic information is that Scientology was created by science fiction writer L. Ron Hubbard. All good. Basically, at the core of Scientology's belief is that people are immortal alien beings called Thetans.
Okay.
And so we are those immortal human alien beings, and we've just forgotten our true nature, and we are trapped on Earth in a human body.
Oh God, no.
So Scientologists believe that each Thetan has lived numerous past lives, both on Earth and in our physical bodies, and on other planets. And they believe that by undergoing a series of classes and teachings and sessions, we can free ourselves from our human form and reclaim our true alien form.
Okay, because I did watch a few things on it, and a lot of it is about knowing yourself on a psychological level and on a mystical level, and it's about knowledge. That's what they stress. It's about knowledge of self, but that's so vague and so broad. And I'm like, I still don't understand what you guys are about.
And it doesn't sound too bad either. Like when you say, "Oh, we're all about us teaching you how to find your true self, your inner self, and inner peace." That's like, oh, that's quite cool. I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
Until they hit you with the alien talk, and then they're like, Psh, I ain't going there.
Yeah, I remember watching this, like, it was like an illustration of their beliefs or whatever, and it was like this mystical kind of cartoon about how it all was invented in, like, you know, years and years ago, and it was like, oh my God, this is literally like a sci-fi film. Like, it's just a sci-fi film. That's what it looks like. But something that really intrigued me was the e-meter. Did you hear about that?
No.
So basically it's this device for like displaying and recording electrodermal activity of a human being. So I don't know if you've ever seen this, but outside shopping malls, they do this outside Westfield. There are loads of people just sat at tables with these devices that have like scales on them, and then these like metal pads where someone else is like holding on to them. Have you seen them before?
No, I've never well, it's just sort of like random people stood outside and sort of waiting for people to come
at
to
tables.
them and touch
So basically, it's so weird. It's this thing called auditing. So I remember watching this documentary. It's like one of the many documentaries on Scientology, and they said so it's like a therapy apparatus, and you sit on it. Not on it, but you sit like on the other side, and you hold it. And apparently they ask you all these things about your life. So like really, they can be really distressing things actually. And then they kind of, it's like
just
an
imagine, I'm just here to buy a top, but let's just delve really deep into my past traumas. Why not? Just gonna be chilled out Sunday.
When I was watching this thing, they said that they were recounting this time that Tom Cruise did it, and apparently he broke down and he was crying, but they were like, we have to censor this part because he revealed loads of private things about his life. But apparently it's like therapy. It's quite funny actually. And it kind of measures your emotional and cognitive state, and in some way that's meant to improve your emotional state. And interesting but very weird.
Yeah, I mean, up until even the whole thing about us being aliens and us being trapped in a human form, and us not really belonging here, that's like, it's a bit crazy maybe, but I like, that's quite cool with me. Like, if you want to believe it, fine. You do you, I do me.
Yeah.
But there is actually reports that are quite incriminating about Scientology, and that includes stories of church members being held captive for years against their will.
Oh my God, what?
At these so-called rehabilitation camps for violating certain policies that Scientology has.
Oh my God, that is so scary.
Yeah, exactly. or they also send members to go through the trash of former members or the church critic to sort of find material to blackmail
Oh my god,
them.
I've seen that, yeah. I have seen bits of that, yeah.
And there are also accusations of, tampering with witnesses in court cases, and there's even murder.
It's like the mafia, like they're very devious and dark, aren't they?
Yeah, because they've got the money. Because another thing is that these auditing sessions that you just talked about, they don't come for free. They're actually really, really expensive. Especially the higher it goes, I suppose the deeper it goes.
Yeah, I think they use them to blackmail people as well, don't they? Like they kind of listen to...
yeah, exactly. You have a recording, and then you can just be like, do you know what, Tom Cruise? I'm sure you would like to leave, but no.
Oh my god, that is horrendous.
So, yeah, I mean, they've got the money, so yeah, I suppose they're not too far from the mafia, but...
Imagine getting tied into something like that.
Yeah.
That is disastrous.
Because you're branded forever, because didn't that actress from King of Queens, she was a former Scientologist, Leah Remini, she was a former member of Scientology, and then she sort of... She left the group, but and she made was it a documentary? I think no. She wrote her own memoir, and there she talked about Scientology and how it's really abusive, and it's really bad for her.
Yeah.
And how she's really, really suffered. But she faced so much backlash for that. Obviously, like from Scientology, obviously they started harassing her. I think there were lawsuits as well. But also from the outside, like even the outside world, like she's become sort of the Scientology girl.
Yeah, it makes you think, like, what
Like
are you guys actually about? What are you guys hiding?
Yeah.
What do you guys get up to? What's going on? It's just, it's weird. There is definitely something there that we don't know about, and it's horrendous. Because, yeah, like, I think even in the documentary they were saying how loads of people just get locked away. They're literally like prisons, like camps, where people just like stay there for, a long period of time and they can't go home. And it's just like this horrible, like infuriating time in their lives where they're just literally like in these camps, like reading up on Scientology. I don't know what the hell they do, like brainwash them or whatever. So yeah, it is really horrendous. I still need to watch the Louis Theroux documentary. I don't know.
Yeah, me too. I've come across I watched a few clips while sort of doing the research, but I haven't actually sat down and watched the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that it's not like it doesn't tell you anything new about it, because we kind of, it has been consumed a bit, like the idea of like, all these conspiracies and Scientology, like a lot has been, documented about it, but I'd like to give it a watch. I do like Louis, good old Louis. Another thing that's quite funny is, I don't know if you've heard people saying that, referring to Corbomania as a cult as well.
But not really, though.
No, of course not, no. Because, everyone's saying, the sight of crowds chanting Corbyn's name at Glastonbury and, like, welcoming him on stage like he's, like, a rock star or whatever.
Like a rock star,
yeah, it made people think, like, what is going on? Like, he just went from being completely unelectable to, like, a really popular guy in politics. Yeah. And a lot of people are like, oh, it reminds us of, like, the deranged Californian cults of the 70s. So, like, the Children of God, like, that kind of sect.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. But then, like, in response to that, a lot of people have said, you know what, it's just a personality cult. So, that's just, like, excessive public admiration for, like, him, just based on, like, spontaneous enthusiasm, because everyone's kind of, like, sick and tired of the current political climate. So yeah, I don't think it is a cult.
No, because then where do you draw the line? Would you call, like, the Believers? Would they be a cult as well? Would you call the One Direction fan, whatever they're called? I'm sure they have a name.
Yeah, exactly.
They'd also be like, that's just silly. Just admiring a person and the work and what he stands for. That does not make a cult.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people say, personality cults, they come from above rather than emerging from below, like a secret, like plot.
Right, yeah.
Like,
it'd be sort of started off by the leader, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. And they refer here to, like, the cult of Lenin and Stalin and how they're, like, deliberately manufactured from the Soviet people. But that was anything but that. Corbyn's kind of group is anything but that. We all just love him because he's so lovely. And yeah, but to be fair, he has been a bit of a wanker recently, saying that he takes back the whole the student finance thing, saying that people still need to pay for university, and it's like, what? That's like the main thing why, the main reason why people voted for you, and you're taking it back now.
Yeah, but I think it's like, yeah, it wasn't a good thing, but I think once you get into politics, you just have to make certain compromises. But then I'm like, you're bashing on about this one thing that he, it's true. He turned his back on his promise, and that sucks. And we all rather he didn't do it. I'm sure he wouldn't have to do it. But then if you look at sort of the manifesto from the Conservative Party, I think they have actually turned their backs on one of their agendas.
Their policies,
So it's like you're just branding him into this really evil guy and this cult leader. And that's clearly just like your right-wing agenda rather than the truth.
Yeah,
that's just
true.
really selective journalism going on here rather than
the
truth.
He has always been a victim of it. That's what I'm like. I don't want to be swayed too much, but that is like a main thing that he did promise. And kind of sucks. So he's like, I can't afford it anymore. But yeah, we'll see how things turn out. But yeah, that's all on Corbyn.
But speaking of UK cults, so this is a case that came out about a year ago in the news. It was sort of branded the Lambeth slavery case.
I have, yeah.
So it was this cult that was sort of founded and run by this Indian Singaporean guy called Balakrishnan. And he fled from Singapore for his communist ideologies. So he came to the UK, he came to London, went to LSE where he studied, and he started sort of his own little communist group. And they organised sort of sit-ins and protests, and it was all good. But as time went by, it got more and more radical, and like more liberal members of the group, they started to drift away because they saw it become just a bit too intense for them, I suppose. But as time went by, 10 female members formed around him, and the collective moved to Brixton. So he sort of lived in this house with these women, but the focus shifted from being a political group to him just using these females as workers. He assigned chores and other sort of jobs and responsibilities onto them, and it became sort of a slave cult.
Damn.
And as time went by, as it usually does, sex came into the game, and he sort of started to start having sex with these women, and he brainwashed them to an extent that where he managed to convince them that everything in the world was controlled by him, from the sun, the moon, wind, fire, and he could overthrow governments by sheer power of will. He could control natural disasters, and he could, he was...
Are you joking? What the hell?
He could decide over life and death. And he was so good at controlling them that they believed and they just stayed. So it wasn't even like he locked the door and they were like, chained. These women, they believed him and they worshipped him.
Oh, poor women. Yeah.
And he himself created him into a god figure that he called Jackie, which was like an acronym for Jehovah, Allah, Christ, Krishna, and the immortal Ishvara.
Oh my god.
So he became this sort of mystical super being that controlled everyone in the house and controlled the whole universe to them.
Yeah. It's nuts how people can actually do that. Like, you could so easily do that if you, do it to people who are very, very, vulnerable and young and impressionable. It's actually such an easy thing to do.
That's another thing. I think, when I did the research, that's one thing that I found when I read these stories. One thing that you really shouldn't do when you read anything is go down to the comment section. But when you do, you get all these people, they're like victim shaming. They're like, oh, it's their own fault. When I read about R. Kelly's thing, it's like, oh, these parents are so stupid, it's their fault. Why would you even leave your parents near R. Kelly after the whole trials back in the early noughties on the
it can happen to anyone. Everyone has free will at the end of the day.
But that's the thing, exactly. It can really happen to anyone. Like, you can't just say, oh, it's their fault, it's their parents' fault.
No, of course not.
It's not like they want this to happen to them. Who would want this to happen to them?
Yeah, it's just a kind of dickish thing to say, really, isn't it? Completely stupid.
Yeah. Really,
even if you do lock up your kids or whatever, they have free will, they have their own individuality and personalities, and if they're drawn to those kind of relationships, or they're drawn to a certain group of people, or they find themselves in a situation in a club where there are loads of creepy men or whatever, and then they might be a bit gullible or naive, and then that happens, but that's still not their fault at all. I'm not saying that as a character flaw at all. Sometimes you're just young. Everyone's been gullible and naive at some point in their lives,
exactly,
and you might find yourself in the worst kind of the wrong time at the wrong place, and then that happens to you. It can happen to anyone, so that's completely outrageous that people are saying that.
Yeah, because I mean, there's so many factors. You know, you might be young, you might just be lonely, you might be just really in a dark place and just needing someone to listen to you. And once someone, you know, gets a sniff of that and sort of, you know, goes in to sort of, you know, control you and has that just a bit of leeway, you're done for. That's just how life works, you know.
Yeah. No, it's pretty awful. But let for people listening, what kind of tangible advice can you give to someone to get out of like a negative sect? Like, do you reckon there's like actual advice you can give to someone to get out of it? Because once you've gone that far, is there a way out? Can you get out? And you know, a lot of people say that it's more common amongst like isolated people. Is that true? I mean, we're definitely at risk if that's the case.
I think when you say isolated, I think it's more about, you know, loners who sort of like, you know, just don't talk to anyone. And
are they more at risk, do you reckon?
I think so, yeah, because you don't have anyone from the outside. Like, you know, when I read the Michelle Pfeiffer story that I just told you about, like, she didn't realise what was happening, who she was associating with, where she landed, until she spoke to someone from the outside. And they were like, do you know what, this sounds a lot like a cult. And she was like, fucking hell, that's what's happening to me. And I think if you are someone who doesn't have friends, who doesn't have you know, much of a family, who doesn't talk to people, have, you know, yeah, I think it's very easy to sort of get sucked into that, because you're probably lonely, you're vulnerable, you're probably just looking for some sort of companion, someone who understands you. And I think that's really, really dangerous.
Yeah, I think obviously the best bit of advice is definitely, you know, reach out, like try to break that cycle of like isolation. If you notice it, just kind of, you know, get yourself out there a bit more. Family obviously like always helps, like getting back in touch with family and kind of like looking at the situation from an outsider's perspective.
Exactly.
If you can, like that always
just
helps.
Yeah, just sort of try to be objective.
Yeah.
I think a sad thing that's really, really heartbreaking is when you see these girls, especially when I sort of, you know, read up on the R. Kelly thing. It's just that even once they come out, it must be like, you know, you can go into therapy, you can go into rehab and all these things, but it must always be like a daunting thing that's always there in the back, that, you know, it's part of your life now. You're sort of branded.
It stays with you forever. Like, it's
like a drug addiction as well. Like, you can always, like, I would personally have that fear. I don't know whether it is that way because I don't have any first-hand experience, but I think it's a bit like you can always sort of slip back into that. Or I'd have that fear. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think I read this thing about this from this grief recovery specialist, and she deals with, you know, victims of people that have been held captive for years and things like that. And you know, there are loads of concerns about the long-term effects that these super fans can suffer. So they get like, you know, they feel like they have a loss of control, of identity, of self-worth, and they lose, you know, like the actual opportunity to have proper relationships, and like they always feel like they're gonna get that loss of freedom at any point, and they find it hard to, you know, trust other people and feel safe with other people. And yeah, you kind of eventually just get a kind of loss of hope, which is really stressful and traumatic. And it's kind of like a feeling of like grief and pain, isn't it? Like you're losing yourself completely.
Yeah, exactly. Because obviously you went into this because you were looking for companionship, you're looking for something to share your problems with, and now that you're away from that group, away from your comrades or whatever you call them, it must be like losing your family, losing part of who you are.
I feel like these cults are a bit more rife in America, like just the fact that they're a lot, I don't know, they seem a lot more normal out there.
Yeah,
like
why do you reckon that is?
I don't know. I think it's got a lot to do with the fact that there are loads of celebrities there and like sugar daddies, which reminds me of my sugar daddy story. So basically,
let's end this really
on a good note,
sad, on a happy sort of laughy note.
So basically, I was taking a connection flight from Orlando to London, and I was just sitting, minding my own business, listening to music, and then this guy, he looks about 70. He's got like high-waisted shorts on, brown boots, a like checkered shirt. Yeah, he sits down and he's like, "Ma'am, how are you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine, I'm good, blah blah blah." And he just starts talking about how he travels all over Southeast Asia. He's been to like Vietnam, he's got condos in Thailand, and he's
I
planning
think
to
he
like.
said he's got condoms.
Oh, God. Yuck. So I wouldn't be surprised, but he basically, he was just going on about his life and traveling. I was like, okay, this in my head I was like, this guy's just a really friendly guy from Florida, because everyone's really friendly in the US anyways, and he's just talking about his travel stories, like completely innocuous, really sweet, whatever. And then he goes, he's like, I'm planning to settle down in Spain. And he was like, are you Spanish? And I was like, no. He's like, do you speak Spanish? I was like, no. He's like, okay. Sits down. And then he's like, he's a bit of a character. He's quite strange. Like, he reminds me of Forrest Gump, like a really older version.
Oh,
and then he goes,
he might have been on the spectrum.
it's just a bit dopey, like a bit kind of.
Oh, right.
And then he comes up to me and he's like, how old are you? I was like, guess. And he goes, 30. Which I was like,
30? Guess. Oh my god, wait, did you say he said 30?
Yeah, he said 30. No, it wasn't being flirty at all.
Fucking-
We were just, like, bantering, whatever. And then he was like, okay, well, I'm 62. And I was like, oh, bloody hell. And then he sits down, he comes up to me, whispers in my ear, and he's like, I know I'm too old for you, but if you want to be friends, here are my details. And he gives me a piece of paper. It's got his email, his name, his WhatsApp number. He's like, if you want to be friends, let me know. He sits down, and then he comes up to me again, and he's like, you know, all those places that we spoke about, I can take care of you and take you to all those places, but just let me know, you've got my details. And then he goes back, and his trousers are like, I don't know, he was like pulling them up. He was like, he pulled them right up to his nipples, and he was like, yep, I broke my belt. Anyways, nice to meet you guys. Bye. I was like, oh my god.
That is
Weirdest thing
oh my
ever,
God.
yeah. So weird.
Oh, please tell me you called him or emailed him.
No,
or something.
I don't want to give him false hope.
Oh, bitch, you should absolutely do that. Just like a plan B if shit goes...
Well,
shit hits
yeah,
the ceiling, you'll be
maybe.
like-
But my friend was like, you know, you're gonna have to repay him in like other ways. You know, you have to. And I was like, really? I was hoping he
Get
just
down on
wanted
your
some
knees.
companionship. Yeah, but
That's what I'm saying. Like, just email him. Maybe that's literally what he's looking for. Like, the fact that he sort of, got close to your ear and whispered shit in your ear, like, that would freak me out. I think I would punch him in the nose. If someone came that close to me and spat in my ear, like, son, you better take a step back. But
God.
maybe he is actually just, maybe we should give him some credit. Maybe actually he is just looking for companionship. Then you should just drop him an email, man.
Oh my god, you're such a bad influence.
He might like be so touched by the fact that you just really want to be friends with him and you just like him for who he is, not the money. He might, like, I don't know, when he
Oh my
dies, he
God.
might include you in his will and give you like one of his condos, man.
Oh my god, imagine, like, and all I'd have to do is be his pen pal for like a few years. That would be a pretty good deal. I'm actually considering that. Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll see
Bitch,
next
if you don't
week.
want to give me the details, yeah.
Oh
I'll
god,
take it.
dream on. No, I'm hanging on to this piece of paper like it's the bloody golden Bible. Like, I'm not letting go of it.
Like a life jacket.
Yeah. But yeah, next week, if I do it, I will let you know, and I'll probably read a few bits on the podcast if he does reply.
Ask him if he needs someone else, or
he's
if
got
he
a friend.
has any friends. Yeah.
Oh god.
If you want something spicy, you know,
Gross. But to be
like
fair,
a curry
like he is.
version.
Oh my god, a curry version. Wow. But yeah, mate. To be fair, like the fact that he goes to Thailand a lot kind of rings a lot of alarm bells. It's like, okay, he knows I'm 24. He probably goes to Thailand a lot, sees a lot of younger
maybe just
women.
wants to play some ping pong, man. What's wrong with
Oh,
that?
for God's sake! Help! But yeah.
That is hilarious. Yeah, do email him and let us know what happens by next week.
Yeah, but by all means, if he was younger and better looking, I would consider it.
You'd be all over that. Let's not kid
Yeah.
ourselves. You'd
Yeah.
be all over that. If he was like a tall glass of something like common, you'd be all over that shit.
Oh,
It wouldn't even
yeah.
matter
Oh
whether
my
he's got
God.
a condo or not. Yeah.
Yeah. I was really like, yeah, honey, I'm coming with you. Like, flight back to London, what's that?
Take me now, London.
Yeah.
No one's going to London. Who's going to London? Let's go.
Let's go to Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for listening. And of course, if you want to add any comments or just let us know what you thought about the podcast. Feel free to send us an email or tweet us at most_mosaic. Yeah, I think that's
also
right.
all sorts of sugar daddy profiles are more than bloody welcome from all over the world.
Absolutely. Yep.
We're not very picky, as long as you've got money. We don't really care what you look like, what religion, what race. We're very open-minded that way.
We take everyone. We don't discriminate, honey.
Put it that way. We take everyone. Jesus.
Well, you're the desperate one, not me. But yeah.
We might, start a cult. Sugar daddy meets what's the girl in the relationship?
Sugar
called?
babies.
Sugar baby, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan, actually.
Sugar baby united.
Oh yeah,
That's gonna be our cult.
Sounds like a 90s pop band. Yeah.
We'll start accepting applications from now on, so please send them forward to our email address or tweet us.
Yes, please do. All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening to Most Mosaic, and we'll catch you next week for our next podcast. So, goodbye.
Yes. Goodbye.